Welcome. Hi there. I'm Amy McDonald, director of this space, and thank you all for coming out. This is part of a series that we have. We got an NEA grant, and we have a series called Ones to Watch, where we're highlighting up-and-coming artists in Boston or somewhat established artists on all sorts of different genres. We've had music, we've had a mariachi band, we've had poets, and tonight we have dance with Jenny Oliver. We're going to be, so thanks guys. We're going to begin with a short film, and then Jenny and her dancers will come out, and a closer look at belonging is the name of the piece, and you'll see it. Little housekeeping note. They will be using all this space. So these 6'5" feet out here, if we can keep feet underneath the chairs, and if you've got backpacks or anything, just they're going to be using all this space. So keep it everything just within your chairs. And with that, we'll begin the program.
What is it to belong to a place, to a person, to yourself? Kinship connects us and provides a space for relations. I often think about all that I am, a conundrum of kin, the colonized and the colonizer. Yes, and. Black and. Immigrant and. Assimilated and. All and. Who is she? Why is she missing? What happened? Where are they? The sun rises and falls, and yet the water persists. We belong to ourselves, and yet I belong to you as well. Bare feet, connecting to the earth, relative, kin, mother.
Can they see us?
Sister, self.
Behind those veils? Will they claim us? Our skin, not like theirs, but theirs. often not seen. Will they love us?
The sound of water falling, transforming from snow to ice to liquid.
Will we belong?
Processing.
Where
Processing.
are our
We
waters?
do not exist without one another. Standing on
Our
the earth.
mothers?
We are a part of it. She is my
They
sister,
know
come
us.
from it, as well as my mother. And one day we will
They know all the
return.
ways
The earth embraces my bare feet,
that bring us
sinking
home.
a little deeper the longer I stay.
They know the ways
Like a sigh
that
of
flow us
loneliness,
out.
or the breeze blowing
It is like the
leaves on
oceans
trees,
on their
liberating
island.
a cycle of interconnectedness.
The ocean
Everything as it should be.
on Thompson Island.
Belonging. We belong to ourselves,
The journeys back home
and yet I belong to you as well.
are long and again. Will the water find us? Can they see us behind that veil? Do they know us? That we're missing? Will they find us when we wander? Will we need to just wait? And fall in the waters and belong to that, belong to them, and them to us? Where will we flow? Can they see us? Behind those veils, will they claim us? Our skin, not like theirs, but theirs. Black, brown, not claimed, often not seen. Will they love us? Will we belong? Where are our waters, our mothers? They know us. They know all the ways that bring us home. They know the ways that flow us out. It is like the oceans on their island. The ocean on Thompson Island. The journeys back home are long and again. We belong to that vast bay whose names we don't say in our native lands. Will the water find us? Will it bring forth that language, that connection, that belonging? Will we be welcome home? Can they see us behind that veil? Do they know us? That we're missing? Will they find us when we wander? Will we need to just wait and fall in the waters and belong to that, belong to them, and them to us? Where will we flow?
So, good evening. Thank you for being here, and thank you for coming to see this. So this work is very important work that we're doing in creating a space of belonging. So since the moment you've walked into the door, you've been invited into a space of belonging. Your belonging matters, your humanity matters. Your connection to someone else is reciprocal, because without the person next to you, you don't exist. I'm gonna bring us backwards and to the start of this piece when I didn't know that it was gonna be a piece. So this is March 2020. We all remember we went into lockdown. when nobody knew what was going to happen, nobody knew how this thing was spreading, nobody knew about masks yet, and we were all just in our houses trying to figure it out. Well, the first thing that I did was I slept for 2 weeks. I'm waiting for that 2 weeks again. And then slowly I started to understand my connection to myself. And it is dance, and it is through movement that I feel like I most belong and that I most make sense to myself. And so that's when I started kitchen classes. And so those of you that are in the room or virtual, I'm sure have experienced some version of my kitchen with me. So thank you for that. And also I realized that by taking care of myself, I was taking care of others as well. Building connection through this virtual space when we didn't know if we would ever see one another again. Well, fast forward, 3 weeks before Mother's Day, my grandmother catches COVID. And she catches COVID because she didn't want to wear a mask. And so not only that, but she ended up being in the hospital that my sister works at. My sister is an ICU nurse. And so since the beginning of this whole pandemic, she's been on the front lines, seeing all of the things, people that she knows, people that we've grown up with. And so that was really hard. I think the hardest thing was having to care for my grandmother, who was intubated. And having to be there for her last breaths. And now the thing that was most difficult for me is that I'm the oldest of 3. And as the oldest, I'm usually the one that holds the space. And on May 3rd of 2020, I was sitting in my yard, useless, helpless. I couldn't go home. I couldn't be with my family. I didn't know what to do. None of us knew what to do. And so that was a real turning point for me. I've never felt my humanity so strong to not be able to be there for the people that you love the most when you're usually the one that's there for those you love the most. So we fast forward. We get to the end of 2020 and the commission comes in for the film that you saw not too long ago. And so that was an opportunity for me to come back into creativity because I had given up. I said, I'm done. I'm done. I'm not doing Brady Bunch squares. I'm not doing any of this. But through that commission, we were able to try to figure out what does it mean to belong. And then I start to let go of the expectation of what dance is and what dance does for people. Dance is about belonging. Dance is about your physical human manifestation of whatever it is that you're going through at that time and how you want to express that. And so we created this space, and eventually it turned into more rehearsal space to create a work that wasn't being created. And then that takes us to Tufts, where we got to perform part of an adaptation of it that you saw here. And now you're here in this space of belonging with us, and you also belong here with us now. The mapping activity that you did out there, and if you haven't done it, I invite you to do it again at the end, is a tool that we use to create this choreography. What is it to build a space and then inhabit that space intentionally? What is it to inhabit someone else's space? That's their sacred space. How do we find and feel the sacredness within each of us? And so tonight, this one time, one night only event is not anything that's gonna be able to be recreated ever again. Not with these people, not at this time. And so I thank you for being here and being a part of belonging. Can I get, hello. I also, in all my emotions, forgot to tell you about the flowers. I was like, what are these random flowers all of a sudden coming up out of nowhere? So my grandmother was a gardener, and so flowers were always something meaningful and beautiful for her. Also, my sister has sort of taken up gardening. The whole house looks like a greenhouse now. And I think that a lot of us can relate to that just during the pandemic if you've picked up plants as pets or kin or family members. So the flowers do really represent something quite beautiful. We're gonna do a little bit of a Q&A, but not like, how long have you been dancing? Really questions around belonging. And the first thing that I'm gonna have you do is I'm gonna have everybody stand up. Yes. And just take a moment and stretch all the way up. Yes, hello. When's the last time we intentionally stretched our bodies? Yeah, we can clasp hands and reach maybe to one side or the other. And perhaps there's a neighbor next to you. Say, hey, neighbor. Very good. And bring your hands down into your own center. And maybe put your hand on your heart area, your chest, and maybe one on your stomach. And we'll lower our gaze. Just take a deep, intentional breath in, feeling your own existence in this moment, whatever that is, whatever's coming up for you, whatever's not coming up for you. Your lungs are coming up for you, that's for sure. And we'll take another breath in and exhale. And one more intentional breath together, in and exhale. Very good, and you can open your eyes or lift your gaze. Shake it out. Nice. Let's have a seat. Let's have a seat. So I guess what we'll start with is you probably want to know who the players are in the room. And I'm sure you know me. That's part of the reason why you're here, so thank you. And we're actually going to go down the line. And I'm going to have the dancers say their name and also say where they're from, because we're not all from the same place, yet we belong to each other. And belong to this place at this time. And then also a short sentence or two about what belonging means for you over the duration of this process that we've been together. We'll start here.
Okay. Hi, I'm Sally.
You can stand up, that way folks can, yeah.
Hi, I'm Sally. Hi. I am from Maplewood, New Jersey. Yeah, okay. And I am graduating college this spring. I've been at a time of life where home means a lot of things, and home is changing all the time, putting roots down and then quickly moving on. So I've really been thinking a lot about what it means to belong to myself, and knowing that I am with myself and I will be with myself forever. So yeah.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. My name is Patrika. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Did you enjoy the weather today?
I loved it. Oh my God, didn't y'all? Oh my God. So belonging, I've been thinking about this term for a while, but for me, it is this sense of home no matter where you are. And that sense of home has the sensations of acceptance and warmth. So yeah, home.
Hello, everyone. My name is Amani Deal. I am from the greater Boston area, and I say that because I've moved around the greater Boston area my entire life. Belonging means that I don't have to alter myself, so I can be unapologetically me wherever I am feeling belonged. Yes.
Also sounds like a turtle. We love a turtle.
Hello, this is loud. I'm Rachel.
Rachel's been with me since the beginning of everything that I've ever done.
Yeah. Originally from Connecticut, now living in Stowe, Massachusetts. Woohoo, lovely. Belonging to me, we've talked a lot as a group about, over this process, about how transient our time is, and even just being with this group of people is a temporary thing. So belonging has given me some opportunity to be introspective and to think about and appreciate the moments, try to be in the moment and think about how fleeting time is and be aware of that.
Hi, my name's Amisi. And I'm from Cambridge, Massachusetts. And yeah. I feel like I belong when I have a community and a group to belong to, but also that I'm seen as an individual and have the space to care for myself as an individual. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name's Vivian. I am from Richmond, Virginia, which is the greatest place on earth. I have been in Boston for about 2.5 years, and working with Jenny has been a really cool experience and kind of been in parallel with this conversation of belonging for me. Moved to Boston not knowing anyone. COVID hit, couldn't get to know anyone really. Like, I had a few really, really close friends that I'm super grateful for, but I almost feel like I was asleep for a long time, and then things started opening up. I started working with Jenny, I started building community. And for me, I would say belonging is really about time spent, familiarity, and recognition. Whether it's a place, whether it's a person, being able to recognize patterns or things that make you feel comfortable and loved and just like cozy and familiar. That's belonging to me.
Hi, everyone. I'm Erin Chiesa. I am from the Lowell area. And this process has been really powerful for me because I always thought belonging meant comfort. And we had a really great conversation about how even the bad things belong to you and shape you into who you are, and that we should just take all of our experiences, reflect on them, learn from them, and share them with others, and be our true, authentic selves, and hold space for ourselves, because I know I am very hard on myself, and hold space for others as well.
Awesome, thank you. I'm actually going to step into the audience, and I haven't asked if it's okay that I ask a question. Siddhartha, may I? Okay, so Siddhartha is one of my sister friends, kin. Also, you saw Siddhartha and heard her in the film. This is also Siddhartha's dress. And actually, when we were creating this work, we were trying to create work about our relationship as Black Native women here. And she was not here physically in space and place. And she was on her own journey of belonging. And so what is it to create a duet without another physical body? So even when you saw those two bodies in the film, those were both me. So I was thinking a lot about being duetting with her voice, like her voice as the rhythm in the landscape and moving with the movement of the words. Also, what is it to actually embody somebody else and have that on and have that be part of this idea about a duet? So I'll pass it to Siddhartha and I'll ask you the same question. If you can say your name and where you would like to place your belonging at this time and what makes you feel like you belong. And then if you have a question, maybe you can ask a question back and start us into this circular discussion. And folks can be thinking about what kind of questions they might want to ask. And if you could stand up, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Yes.
I love you.
I love you.
Like, really, I do. Thank you. Thank you all. It's so good to see you. I will speak in the language. Waninu Kushkatong Natasawa Siddhartha. It's really good to be here with you all. My name is Siddhartha. I belong to this body and the lineage and the future that it will, dissipate into. So that's where I place my belonging these days. But I am from Boston. I don't live in Boston anymore, but I am from Boston. And did you want me to talk about what it was like to create the thing, or
if you want to, if you feel moved to do that, yeah. And then if you have maybe a question.
Yeah, and I have a question related to that for
Perfect.
everybody. So, Jenny and I have known each other for, is it 20 years now?
Yeah, could be.
We were 2, and
Exactly. We met at 2 years
and our mother said, we were in our 20s, and or I was in my 20s. I don't know how Jenny was, but and we met on a dance floor, and that began kind of the dialogue, between us. And I think at different times that dialogue has consisted of different things of our own past, our own struggles as dancers, as people, as women, as Black Native women, but we've always stayed connected. And so there's a big part of the possibility of doing this work with you, Jenny, that is about the connection that we have, over space and time, because we've shared a lot of space and time together. And so I guess my question to the dancers is, what relation to space and time does belonging have to you, having done this?
What relation does space and time have to you?
Having done this piece.
Having done this. Ooh, yes, that feels like, and what are we taking with us as we go? I'm very good at passing a mic. Don't let me catch you off guard. Great.
So I think we actually talked about this today in the green room as a group about how transient belonging is, specifically because we were reflecting on we had been talking about how this is the one show, and we've been doing this work for so long, and a lot of us were new to each other when we started this work, and we really formed like very deep relationships with each other and had lots of time to talk through the stuff. I think I cried every time we met, which was new for me because I'm not a crier. But just the transient nature of belonging and understanding that it's okay that it's transient. It doesn't mean that it's good or bad. It is just what it is. It's fluid.
So I just had a quick thought about time specifically, and we've been, we've all been excited. We've been working on this for a while, and we're so glad to share it with you all. And a lot of us are kind of moving on after this. So this group doing this dance is kind of the dance. And after that, there's going to be a little bit of grief and loss afterwards. And I was thinking about belonging in terms of the past, because I feel like we talk about belonging in the present, and sometimes I have a little anxiety of where I belong to in the future. But then recognizing what are the memories that we create with the belongings that we have now? And then how can we either kind of connect again to share those memories? That's an idea.
So those of you that participated in this mapping activity and now have experienced the movement part of it, what questions or well, maybe it's not a question, what's bubbling up for you? What would you like to share about your own belonging and feelings or thoughts that you have that might not be fully fleshed out, but just something to add into the space as we're sharing our ideas and realities on belonging? I know it's deep. Yes, Ezra.
I take Jenny's class. It's great. So I feel like for me, a lot of feelings about belonging are really tied up in gender and how other people perceive my gender. And so I was wondering if that ever came into play for any of you, and if like the body belonging came up at any point during your rehearsal.
Ooh, yes. I think that I'm going to start, and I feel like maybe Erin will kind of tag team a little bit. Yeah, because I feel like oftentimes, at least for me, I think that I present in one way, and maybe that presentation is accurate to my gender, and then sometimes the energy that I have around that is not. And so it's not read in a way that is welcomed oftentimes. It's often projected onto me. I still haven't been able to pinpoint what it's about. Is it about my size? Is it about my skin? Is it about my hair? Is it about the way that I talk? There are some ways that I speak that I don't want to ever get rid of, like saying use with an S. That makes me feel like I belong. That's where I'm from. We're very regular folk, and I also speak just like this all the time because this is also my family. And so how does my presentation or the way that I need to morph into different spaces in order for people to understand me based on what their own understanding of their belonging is? That ain't got nothing to do with me. And so I'm constantly trying to push up against that. And I think that often Erin and I talk about our perceived masculine energy in space and how difficult that might be, or how we're supposed to soften, or any other of those types of expectations that come around the way that we walk into a room just because we're walking in knowing who we are and that we belong to ourselves, and how that makes us ostracized a lot of times. And I think that that's also, and I should look on this side too, hi. I also feel like that's part of the reason why I work the way that I work, and that I work independently, and I don't really, I mean, a lot of y'all know me, like I'm very much in my corner. I'm not trying to shake hands with every single person and all of that because I'm so sort of protective of what I am to myself. And Sadat is doing a lot of teaching for me on like how to let that go and actually just do less and be more. Just be you, however that is in the moment. I don't know if do you want to add, or I don't want to put pressure on you, but anybody else want to add to that?
In terms of like belonging to my body, I am feeling the effects of age on my body, and got injured pretty early on in the process. And it's a different, I've danced since I was 1.5 years old. I took a little hiatus and lived a different life for a while and then returned. But I feel like I know my body better than I ever have. And also I'm trying to navigate an aging body. Because I know I look like real young, but I'm not. I am, but I'm not, comparatively. So yeah, that's been a journey for sure.
Yes, Amy, we're gonna have you dancing too.
Hands raised? Yep.
All right. Hi.
Yes, Andu.
Yes, Andu. Yes. Hello. Hi, everybody.
Love that. Andu has been a part of the journey since the beginning as well. I think this is probably the first thing that you haven't been in, but happy to see you.
Yes, of course. Yeah. So just going into, I guess, the masculine and feminine energy, because I know you so well.
Yeah,
You know, how is it being, you know, with an all female cast? I mean, I know that. I know most everybody identifies as female. I want to be PC, so, you know. Okay, great. Yeah, so how is it working with an all-female cast? And as you said, because I know you're so drawn towards the masculine energy, not having a male within the piece, within the cast, working with a group of, 7 women plus yourself, 8 women. How has that been for you? Have there been any challenges for you personally? And then for the group as well, what has that experience been like?
Oh my goodness, that's loaded. I'm not gonna start that. Who would like to start? I just feel like I was talking a lot. Okay, so what is it like for me? First of all, I give it up to Spirit all the time, that I'm always guided and aligned in doing the things that need to be done through me. So initially, I think that I was more feeling like, oh man, I'm missing out on like the people that have been with me for the whole time, right? And so how do I grieve that loss of people and then also celebrate the gain of other people within the work? And how do I allow that to sort of be like lungs and expand and collapse? So there was a bit of a grieving process that happened, but then also there's something that happens in the space, I think, at least for us, I mean, that exact thing has come up so many times, like, oh, it feels like so. Rachel and Erin have been with me right along from the beginning. Patrika and Imani were here as like things started to transition when we got into this quarantine, but it's a different energy to not have like man around. And at first I was very frustrated because I'm like, I need to feel like my full self is also in the space. And so I was realizing that over time, I'm like, oh, actually, I can be even more of my full self without all of that other energy around. And then what does that actually create in order for other people to bubble up? Because I think that for us, I don't know, I'm just gonna probably speak for you a little bit, but you know, when there's so much male energy around, we often make ourselves small as women. Whether intentionally or unintentionally, we don't say as much. We sort of just like let the thing go. Endu has always been sort of my right hand, so I've often leaned on him to be like, you handle them. I'm going outside. You make sure that this looks good. This is my idea, and I need you to do this. And now that I reflect on it, it's like, oh, because I know that they'll respond to that. They'll respond to that type of leadership or command. And so what does that say about me? You know, that stuff I have to like unpack on my own to be like, why does it need to have that brute force? Why can't it be led with softness and kindness? And I realized through that and not having that like they don't need that at all. As a matter of fact, they're very capable on their own. Not that I was intentionally thinking that they weren't capable, but just in the reflection of like what that dynamic was. So that's some of what has come up for me, and I'll pause and pass the mic. Rachel.
Oh, okay. I have attended many all-women's institutions, so I'm constantly surrounded by women, and I love women. I love men too, but women are great. I'm very comfortable around them. I think that the piece was, you know, you've spoken to this before, it's like, whatever happened, whatever was meant to be during this period, and everything that you saw on stage, the video and everything was a product of our relationships with ourselves during quarantine and our relationships with each other, and then going as COVID progressed. So I think that male or female, it all came together as it was meant to be, and all of our personalities blended together well, and we were able to comfort each other and get really deep into our feelings and express a lot, discover a lot. So yeah, it all worked out as it was meant to.
I don't know if it's a riff, but I remember when I first met you, Jenny, and like you talked about this collective, and if I could have like a place here, and then I remember you mentioned that it could be really difficult finding Black female dancers. So, and I've always kind of had this question for a while, like you have 3 right now, and it's kind of a shift from like having Black men and kind of setting work on them to us. So I'm honestly curious. I know you want to talk. Sorry. But like, what has it been like to kind of set this work? I'm not sure, like, if you've worked with Black women in the past, but like, I guess in this dynamic, like, how has that been for you to have like kind of some type of reflection?
I love it. I love it. I grew up not dancing with any Black women. I was always with white women. I wasn't even with Spanish women. I was like, no, I wasn't with Asian women. I wasn't with anybody else but white women. And actually, it wasn't until I went to college and had my first professor of modern dance as a Black woman, I was like, oh my God, what is that? What is going on? And then the door started to really open, and I said, oh, I'm craving this. And so for 20 years, it's like, where can you find a way to connect with others that share an experience with you that you don't have to talk about? That you can come in and like, we're just moving, and the synchronicity is just intangible and you can't touch it. And for people that are around folks that look like them and have a shared experience for them, it's such a luxury. It's such a gift, because you never realize how alone it is. And I think that I didn't realize exactly how alone it is until I was surrounded by it. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. Or like, yes, we got a fro going on. We coming in with braids. Patricia was coming in with all the things, all types of wigs and weaves and colors. And, but for us, that's really a sign of kinship for us. Especially in a place and space, riffing off of hair. My hair is locked now, but, I also worked in the corporate space where you're policed by that. Like, you have to have a certain type of look, and that look has nothing to do with Black women or Blackness. And so to be able to hold that. Also, I think continuing on a little bit is really important for me because of the Black women that I've had that have shepherded me. Like, it's important for me to continue to do that and to make, like, the making, and you all being here is not only about, oh, Jenny's doing a thing. It's about what I'm able to create for others to see themselves out there in here, wake up every day, feel purposed, feel heard and seen, feel archived, that no one's gonna tell their story because their story's already been told through their own mouths and through their own physicality. I see we have a question on that side. Also, what a surprise to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you so much for putting this together. And this is actually a comment following what you said and following what everybody was saying. I must say that this conversation just made me realize I was a man. Because there's something very beautiful that happened during the piece that I just wanted to comment about and share, is that when I saw Sadada and I saw you on the screen, I definitely felt a sense of belonging. I felt like this was my family. I felt like this was my sister. At some point, I felt like this was me. Even though we were, we're not from the same place necessarily. I'm coming all the way from Worcester, So I think it was something very beautiful. And I really feel like that was able to expand through the dancers as well. It started with you and Sadada, and that part of you playing Sadada, made it even more allowed for me. It's like, okay, so
we all want to be done.
And then it was beautiful. It was just beautiful how that went on, and the dancers came on, and I was able to be a part of you all. So thank you so much for this gift today.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. And so so we have 1, 2, maybe 3 questions. Okay.
Hi. A minute ago, you had mentioned how, growing up, you didn't have a lot of diversity, right, in your dancing. And when you did get the opportunity, you felt that belonging, the kinship, and those similarities. But I have a question about how you were able to, I guess, not get lost in the similarities that you had and you developed, because as someone like myself, I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood. I was that token black girl, and trying to kind of figure out who I was amongst people that didn't look like me, right? So I had to find out, how do I belong? How do I find my individuality? And as I became an adult, I found that I developed it through the difference I would have with people. In comparison, because that's just how I had to grow up. So I just want to know how you didn't get lost in the similarities that you've built when you got a more diverse group.
Yeah, that's a very good question. I didn't get lost because I'm grounded in who I am before anybody has stepped into that. So if anything, I feel like, in some ways I feel like, how do I feel? I feel like a basket. And I feel like people come into the basket and they take what they need and then they go out and maybe share that also with others. But yeah, there's that. I spend a lot of time with myself in my own mind. If anybody knows me in here, like, I'm all over the place. There's 35 things going on. There's 85 voices in there. I'm never bored. I'm always got a lot of energy. I'm doing a lot. I'm being a lot. So I never was really like lost in that way. And I think that because there's 85 folks in my mind, that they all kind of like hold this basket, and then people can come into it and like play with whoever they like choose. It's like a little buffet. They go in there and they go, oh my God, I love that part of you. That other part can stay there. So yeah, I think just being grounded in myself, and I try to remain a child as much as I can. I know that there was another quote. Yes?
I was going to say, sorry. That it was more so a comment relating to what you had said in regards to being around more Black women in the dancing room. I kind of feel that way, and I was just explaining to my friend about being a first generation Haitian, or just in general being a first generation of a certain country, like a background. That when I find another person who's first generation, I find this like sense of belonging, because they understand the like pressures that are put on you for being first generation, and that I don't know, there's a sense of belonging of knowing that someone else is going through the same struggle as I am. This push and pull of, am I Haitian or am I American? I don't really feel predominantly Haitian household, but then when I go to Haiti, I also don't really belong because I'm American, but I don't feel that way. So it's just like this really push and pull, and it's so hard to find where I belong in that push and pull.
Yes. I think I'll say to that, lean into the push and the pull. Yeah. Be the yes and. Be the both and. Also, I'll just say that, there's folks in this room right now that I know are first generation as well. And so hopefully when we go to the lobby shortly in a few minutes and have some food and continue with our mapping activity, maybe you can connect with those people as well, because I'm sure that there might be a similar feeling that they have as well. But thank you for sharing. I think there was one more maybe in the back. Oh, one and then two. Okay, and then maybe we can start wrapping it up. Yeah.
Got to wrap up.
Perfect.
Hi, Jenny. When you said in college that was when you had your first dance teacher that was a Black woman, I realized that you are my first dance teacher that was a Black woman, that is a Black woman. And I will be forever grateful for that. And I have a question for you in the terms of being the person that is creating the space. Being the person that is creating the space, how do you go from feeling like that space belongs to you to feeling like you also belong to that space as someone that has created like a group for people to dance in, and to now be leaving the college and the space in which I created that. It's really hard for me to look at it and feel like, okay, as much as this belongs to me, I am with it always. And so any guidance on how to feel like it is just as much, you are just as much a part of it as it is of you.
Yeah, I'm glad. It's beautiful that I get to be your that person in your life. My person is on that side, and so I feel like we're in a triangle right now, and that's really moving very deeply. So the first thing I'll say is, like, call me, email me. Like, I think that that's the thing that's really held me together, is the connection and being maintaining that relationship over time, and as it continues, as Sadada was saying, it changes and it shifts all the time, but being able to like lean on and then be leaned on. And then I think celebrating also, like celebrating your wins, like you've done it, you've done the thing. As Patrika said, like reflecting backwards and being like, yeah, it was hard, but also like I did this and I can like be happy with that and not shy away from the sadness. Like there's got to be balance. So we have to experience grief and loss and sadness, and then also we have to celebrate and feel joy and not be apologetic for that. And I think the last thing I'll say about that is, in our process together recently, we came up with last summer, why is it that we rush through, why do we sit with our sadness, but we rush through our joy? Like, why are we not giving ourselves permission to be joyful and also permission to be sad and not have to hide that either? So call me anytime, and also you did it. All right, last question, thank you.
Hi, so mine isn't a question, it's more of a comment, something I felt moved to say.
Awesome.
First off, I think you guys did an amazing job. I thoroughly enjoyed it, I thoroughly loved it. I'm someone that really appreciates art and appreciates creativity, and I love the title here, A Closer Look at Belonging, because what I realized through watching this and through hearing questions and comments is that one thing that feels very important to belonging to me is the ability to be present, to be fully present in something. I felt that at the time where you said to put one hand on your heart and put one hand on your stomach and just close your eyes and breathe. And I was able to feel very present in that moment. And I think that, to me, that means that I belong to that moment. And some part of me belonged to that moment. And I felt that during the performance as well. I was able to be present for the dance and the poetry and with the music, and be able to be present with that and to sit with that. In my mind, to me, meant that I belonged to those moments. Some part of me belonged to those moments. And I think it allowed me personally to feel a certain connection to the piece. And I think that's just a beautiful thing. So I think that the ability to feel present also is the ability to belong to something.
Yes.
And another thing that belonging means to me is connections. I really value connections with people, just people that I meet in my life or people in my family. And I think that to feel a strong connection with somebody or something means that some piece of you and some piece of that thing or person belongs to each other. And so for people that like I've lost in family or anything, I think that they are able to still live on in that sense of belonging from the strength of those connections.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Also, thank you, CitySpace. Thank you to Amy and Steven and the whole tech crew. You guys have been amazing. Underneath your seat is a little postcard. So take a postcard with you, trade with a friend. We'll go out into the lobby and continue our conversation.